Never met a person that doesn't like Mackenzie. She is the sweetest and most genuine.
Juliana Cawley says she has felt lost ever since her best friend Mackenzie Lewick disappeared.
Murder of Mackenzie Lewick. She's the Utah student from El Segundo. The Salt Lake City police chief just confirmed her body has been recovered.
It started as a regular summer night, but it ended in a way no one could have imagined. When detectives arrived at the scene, they had no idea what they were about to uncover. But as they listened to the chilling details of the story, it was worse than they ever imagined. A 23-year-old college student full of dreams and ambition suddenly vanishes. No signs of struggle, no immediate clues, just gone. The last thing anyone knew? She had taken a late-night ride from the airport, heading toward a seemingly quiet park.
New developments involving that missing Utah student who disappeared after leaving the airport in a lift was dropped off at a park.
But after that, silence. No calls, no messages, no social media activity. For days, her family and friends waited desperately for any sign of her. Police launched an investigation, following every lead, every possible sighting. But what they discovered would send chills through the community and leave even the most experienced detectives disturbed. The deeper detectives dug, the darker the story became. A secret meeting in the dead of night, a suspicious suspect with a hidden past, a digital trail that revealed shocking details, and a discovery so horrifying it left an entire town in shock. Stay with us as we unravel the tragic and chilling case of Mackenzie Lewick. This is a story you won't forget. Before the world knew her as a missing person, Mackenzie Lewick was a vibrant young woman with a promising future. A senior at the University of Utah, she was studying kinesiology. Hoping to one day work in the medical field, Mackenzie was known for her warmth and kindness. Friends described her as outgoing, fun-loving, and ambitious. She had a close relationship with her family and often visited home in California. On June 16, 2019, Mackenzie returned to Salt Lake City from a trip back home. She had attended her grandmother's funeral, a heartbreaking event for the entire family.
Tonight, a campus and community in mourning. University of Utah student Mackenzie Lewick remembered by fellow students, family, and friends, all during a vigil, special vigil held in her name.
But when she landed in Utah, she didn't head straight home. Instead, she called a Lyft to take her to Hatch Park, a location far from her usual spots. Why? Who was she meeting at this late hour? The last known footage of Mackenzie Lewick was at the Salt Lake City International Airport. She was seen waiting for her ride, luggage in hand, dressed casually. At around 1:35 a.m., she got into a Lyft. The driver later reported that Mackenzie seemed calm. She wasn't distressed, she wasn't in a hurry, but what raised red flags? The destination. Hatch Park was not near her home, her school, or anywhere she usually went. Surveillance footage confirmed she arrived at the park around 2 a.m. The Lyft driver said she willingly got into another vehicle, a black sedan. And after that, nothing. It took a few days before anyone realized something was wrong. Mackenzie's friends grew worried when she missed important appointments. Then, when her family couldn't reach her, the panic set in. Police checked her phone records, and her last activity was at Hatch Park. Her social media was inactive, which was unusual. Investigators dug into her digital footprint, looking for clues. Then, detectives discovered something. Mackenzie had been talking to a man online, a man with a dark past. With no physical evidence, police turned to technology. They traced Mackenzie's digital communications and discovered an alarming connection to Ayoola Ajayi, former Army IT specialist with a questionable background. He had a history of violent behavior. He was an aspiring model and tech entrepreneur. Ajayi's phone records showed he was in Hatch Park that night. But more chillingly, Neighbors reported seeing a massive fire in his backyard just days after Mackenzie vanished. What they found was horrifying: burnt human remains, charred clothing, and a disturbing discovery: Mackenzie's belongings.
The case of a missing Utah college student from El Segundo taking a disturbing turn tonight. Police say they're looking at a person of interest in the disappearance of 23-year-old Mackenzie Lueck.
The truth was becoming clearer. Mackenzie Lueck had met Ajayi at Hatch Park and never left alive. With no physical evidence, police turned to technology. They traced Mackenzie's digital communications and discovered an alarming connection to Ayoola Ajayi, a former Army IT specialist with a questionable background. He had a history of violent behavior. He was an aspiring model and tech entrepreneur. Investigators uncovered Google searches on Ajayi's devices: how to burn a body and how to dispose of evidence without getting caught. He had planned every detail. The interrogation was intense. At first, Ajayi denied everything. But as detectives laid out the evidence, his phone records, the backyard fire, Mackenzie's DNA, his story fell apart. DNA tests confirmed the remains belonged to Mackenzie Lueck. Her life had been cruelly taken by someone she barely knew. When detectives searched Ayoola Ajayi's home, they weren't just looking for Mackenzie's belongings. They needed scientific proof: DNA, blood, and physical evidence that would directly tie him to the crime. What they found was beyond disturbing. Authorities found burned bone fragments in Ajayi's backyard. DNA testing confirmed that the remains belonged to Mackenzie. Detectives uncovered a mattress with visible bloodstains hidden inside Ajayi's garage. Neighbors recalled seeing a massive fire days after Mackenzie's disappearance. Forensic scientists determined that Mackenzie's body had been burned in an attempt to destroy evidence, but even fire couldn't erase the truth. Charred remains, partially burned clothing, and melted personal belongings were all discovered in Ajayi's backyard. To understand what happened to Mackenzie, investigators needed to understand the man responsible.
Mr. Ajayi facing capital counts, aggravated murder and aggravated kidnapping in the disappearance and death of Mackenzie Lueck.
Who was Ayoola Ajayi? What drove him to commit such a heinous act? The psychological profile of this suspect paints a terrifying picture. He presented himself as a self-made entrepreneur, yet his history showed a pattern of manipulation and deceit. He owned a book that he wrote himself, detailing the violent kidnapping of a woman. Former acquaintances revealed disturbing incidents of Ajayi's explosive temper, abuse, and controlling nature. He searched for terms like how to burn a body without getting caught weeks before meeting Mackenzie. Experts believe that Ajayi had fantasized about this crime long before it happened. The way he lured Mackenzie, the methodical planning, and his complete lack of remorse all pointed to a dangerous predator hiding in plain sight. If there's one thing modern criminal cases have shown, it's that technology never lies. Ajayi thought he had covered his tracks, but digital forensics exposed everything police traced Ajayi's movements on the night of Mackenzie's disappearance. His phone pinged at Hatch Park, proving he was there. Investigators found disturbing Google searches about burning evidence, cleaning crime scenes, and body disposal. Ajayi's Amazon Echo, Alexa, recorded a suspicious conversation on the night of the crime. He had recently bought gasoline, lighter fluid, and duct tape, all used in the crime. Ajayi thought he was smart enough to erase his tracks, but every digital footprint he left behind painted a clear picture of his guilt, and in the end, technology sealed his fate. On October 23, 2020, over a year after Mackenzie's disappearance, Ayoola Ajayi pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and desecration of a human body.
The man who pleaded guilty to the gruesome murder of University of Utah student Mackenzie Lueck will hear his sentence later today in court.
But why did he finally confess, claiming he never met Mackenzie? Blood, DNA, phone data, and surveillance footage crushed his defense, cold, emotionless, refusing to apologize. As the judge read the sentence, Mackenzie's family wept. Justice had been served, but their loss was immeasurable. The courtroom was filled with sorrow, relief, and anger. The case of Mackenzie Lueck sent shockwaves across the country. Media outlets covered every detail. True crime forums dissected the case, and the public was horrified. The case made headlines on CNN, ABC, and Dateline. Discussions about online dating safety and personal security went viral. They used the media to spread awareness about the dangers of meeting strangers online. The media played a crucial role not only in keeping Mackenzie's case in the public eye, but also in highlighting the dangers of online interactions.
This is the back door leading down to the basement, where a contractor says the suspect asked him to build a soundproof room, complete with a secret door, hooks on the concrete wall, and also a fingerprint lock.
Mackenzie's case is a tragic reminder of the risks that come with meeting strangers online. While technology has made our lives easier, it has also made us more vulnerable. Let someone know where you're going when meeting a stranger. Avoid isolated locations, especially at night. If something feels off, remove yourself from the situation. Research the person you're meeting and avoid sharing too much personal information. By learning from cases like Mackenzie's, we can take steps to protect ourselves and others. Awareness is the first step towards safety. Ajayi was charged with kidnapping, murder, and obstruction of justice. He initially pleaded not guilty, but as the case built against him, he had no choice but to confess. Mackenzie's family and friends were left with heartbreak. They had lost a daughter, a friend, a bright young woman with so much potential. The case of Mackenzie Lueck is a tragic reminder of the dangers lurking in the shadows. It also highlights the importance of online safety and awareness. Be cautious about meeting strangers. Always share your location with loved ones. If something feels off, trust your instincts. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime content.